A 4-day media music festival is taking place in Nanyang, Henan, China. Over the course of these 4 days, it has attracted more than 150,000 music enthusiasts. This has made it one of the most popular events across mainland China during the 8-day holiday, even outshining cities like Shanghai and Shenzhen overnight. However, on October 3, after the event concluded, many music enthusiasts posted online about large numbers of villagers driving tricycles and electric bikes, infiltrating the campgrounds of the festival goers and stealing from them. The villagers, in large numbers, brazenly opened the campsite's fences and stormed in, looting the belongings of the festival goers. They didn't just steal, it was practically a looting spree, particularly after receiving reports. A significant number of local law enforcement and volunteers entered the campgrounds. They blocked the entrances and gaps in the fences opened by the villagers, resulting in confrontations with the locals. This confrontation involved villagers standing defiantly, stating that they had a right to steal and questioning why they shouldn't. This audacity and their self-justified thievery became a remarkable spectacle. It was now becoming an organized crime, because the locals knew they could get away with it due to local customs, and with some police officers turning a blind eye. The police did little more than watch them run, carry away stolen items in large quantities, almost like a swarm of ants. In recent days, many stolen items have appeared quickly in online second-hand markets for auction. Over 100 music enthusiasts have listed the items they lost and shared about it. The stolen items include mobile phones, computers, bank cards, cash, tents, sleeping bags, camping vehicles, MIDI wristbands, clothing, and more. They lost a lot. To understand this situation, you should know about the MIDI Music Festival and what Nanyang is. The MIDI Music Festival was established in 2000, around the time when China entered the WTO. It is one of the most renowned music festivals in China. Nanyang, on the other hand, is a fourth-tier city in China. However, during this festival, it became more prominent than Shanghai and Shenzhen. The current circumstances are quite intriguing. First, the event organizer issued a statement saying that the reports of theft at the festival were deliberately exaggerated by certain organizations through the internet. As a result, the organizing committee deleted their Weibo post from the 3rd of October, with the goal of removing those stupid comments about keeping Henan clean. There were media outlets with official affiliations and self-media personalities backing the event and countering this narrative, alleging regional discrimination and asking what wrong Hainan people had done. They were trying to elevate a security incident into a matter of national grudge and enmity. Second, higher-level government officials have intervened. Who represents them? Musakanti. Although he's a retired official, he's the mouthpiece for senior officials. His statements are authoritative and bear the demeanor of a high-ranking figure. He told the media not to pick on internet users, and he requested that music enthusiasts stop criticizing the Nanyang city government. According to him, the theft incident shouldn't be treated as a big deal, and it's time to move on. After all, the lost items weren't yours. The MIDI Music Festival in Nanyang has been successful, and it's set to continue there next year. This clearly conveys the intentions of a high-ranking official in Beijing. It's time to wrap things up and stop the commotion. And then, a threat emerged that if people didn't disperse, there would be a proletarian dictatorship against them. In response, one music enthusiast claimed to have captured images of villagers attempting theft within the camping area and posted it on Xi'an Chinese video sharing platform. Shortly afterward, internet police called and pressured them to delete the video. The video was also flooded with malicious comments from online trolls. Clearly, the authorities had entered a mode of maintaining stability and suppressing any negative news related to the Nanyang Music Festival. In reality, the Nanyang Music Festival itself and the issues it exposed during the event are a profound reflection of Chinese society. Xi'an's dispersed message is aimed at preventing people from leaving this hot topic and engaging in critical thinking about society. He wants people to continue being joyful at the festival. So, how do we view the Nanyang Music Festival and the large-scale collective theft that occurred there? Let's look at what the Midi Music Festival is. The Midi Music Festival started in Beijing, China's political and cultural center. In this context, it was held annually, starting with just 1,000 attendees and growing to tens of thousands after 8 years. In 2009, it entered a new nationwide phase, being held in various cities like Shanghai, Shenzhen, Suzhou, Zhenya, and more. It even organized 4 to 5 events each year. The Midi Music Festival culture became a prominent platform for China's young people to express their pursuit of freedom and their thoughts. It became a vital cultural platform for seeking a lifestyle based on freedom. The festival's camping area is the most distinctive part of the Midi Music Festival. However, Chinese music festivals have to deal with a more restrained and controlled cultural context, which includes significant government intervention. On the evening of May 2, 2019, at the famous Taihu Midi Music Camp in Qidu Town, Suzhou Wujiang District, music fans and organizers awarded the annual Best Award to Li Zi, who was oppressed by the government. Friends familiar with modern music know that Li Zi's works were banned by the Chinese Communist Party because they alluded to authoritarianism and the June 4th incident. So, on this day, the Midi Music Festival entered a phase of direct confrontation with the CCP. The CCP quickly began to retaliate, but its retaliation was so despicable and thuggish. On May 3rd, the Suzhou Cultural Bureau, accompanied by the police and security guards, came in and searched for misconduct cultural shirts, various flags, and even arrested people and confiscated items and money on the spot. At that time, music fans were very dissatisfied and collectively sang Li Zi's songs to express their discontent. So this incident in Suzhou became a mistake in the CCP's propaganda system, and they had to correct, rectify, and eliminate it as the main focus. 4 months later, in September, the Suzhou Taihu Midi camp began to be demolished. After experiencing 3 years of clear-cutting and sealing, the music camp reopened on April 29, 2023. Banners with the message "Teacher Li is not your teacher" appeared on the scene, echoing a kind of voice of justice and freedom abroad. That's why the Nanyang Midi Music Festival this time gathered 150,000 music fans. The scenes of everyone embracing and celebrating in the mud are not just some kind of madness imagined by people who don't understand rock culture. It's more of an outlet for the inner turmoil of today's young Chinese people. It's a symbol of the resurgence of the seeds of freedom that clash with the dictator. During the pandemic, was looting different? Flower pots celebrating National Day in the square were looted in one night. Only the national flag was left. In one night, the flower pots were gone. Robbing and looting incidents occurred with uproar. Pig transport trucks overturned on the highway. The driver couldn't stop it. Villagers took all the meat. Let's say people appear to love taking advantage, disregarding moral and ethical considerations. At its root, this comes from a deep sense of insecurity in life. When everyone is living safely and comfortably, who would go around stealing things? Throughout Hainan's history, there have been frequent wars and natural disasters. In times of famine, the government would open granaries to provide relief. Secondly, we can't feed all these people. We'll let you fend for yourselves and escape the famine. Allowing disaster victims to escape the famine was common because it's an agricultural province. After floods, the fertile soil often brought good harvest, and there was a strong capacity for self-recovery. The Communist Party officials didn't let the disaster victims escape because they looked emaciated if they did so. This would damage the image of the people's communes. It was a mockery of the failure of the Great Leap Forward, so the armed militia guarded the entrances to the villages and let people starve to death in the villages. Large-scale human-made disasters, such as the Hongmen Reservoir and Bangqiao Dam collapse, kept occurring. Natural disasters were widespread in the Central Plains. Therefore, the people of Hainan have the strongest sense of insecurity, and the survival instinct is strongest. To be honest, you can't blame the villagers in Nanyang for these actions. The saying goes, "The thief who steals a country is a lord. The thief who steals a hook is a common thief." The Communist Party has stolen the entire China using the power in its hands. The government, with its authority, engages in looting. Those who looted a lot became national cadres and party leaders. So what can the common people do? You can only try to obtain limited resources to secure a living. You can't steal from the cadres. It's the common people stealing from the common people. The lower strata of society are co-conspirators, harming each other. That's why it's called the thief who steals a hook is a common thief. The music festival fans who stole are common thieves. This year's Nanyang Music Festival is quite obviously the takeover of the largest meaty music camp in Suzhou since the 2019 pandemic. As the top-level designer of the Chinese Communist Party, obstructing such a large organization of fans with a long history costs the government more. Moreover, music won't die, and fans won't disappear. They will gather in various parts of the country in a more rebellious and secretive manner. This makes it even more dangerous. Therefore, Beijing is willing to move such a gathering filled with a spirit of freedom from first-tier cities and areas with developed economies and good communication to a relatively closed fourth-tier city like Nanyang. This way, they can control the flow of people and the impact of sudden accidents. Choosing Nanyang is also closely related to the Nanyang City Party secretary. The secretary is named Zhu Si, a local from Henan. Looking at his official resume, he's a typical Youth League faction member. There's nothing special about his background. After the Youth League faction was purged during the 20th Congress, there was basically no Youth League faction left. When you look at it this way, Zhu Sixi was left with no pedigree. So what can he do? He can compete on performance. That became the only way for him to rise. You have to go against the trend. The economy in China is so bad. And now you see that the Henan Daily reported that at the beginning of 2023, Nanyang City plans to launch 1,000 major projects with a total investment of 400 billion yuan. For a fourth-tier city like this, in the current background where local governments are exploding everywhere, this kind of going against the trend takes some guts or at least requires finding some bull leather. So, you see, the MIDI Music Festival is a big piece of bull leather. That's it. And all three parties can work together. The MIDI Music Festival comes out from Suzhou, and it needs to find a venue. From the trough of the Lycée event in Suzhou, the central government needs to find a relatively closed but well-connected place. Zhu Cc is just dreaming about launching 1,000 major projects. That's the reason for the Nanyang Music Festival. 150,000 music fans, each spending around 3,000 yuan a day, which is quite normal, means you're talking about 4 or 5 billion yuan for the income of Nanyang City. Of course, the music festival and the subsequent theft incident, let's say. You look at how you deal with the crisis. It's a great opportunity that should have given Nanyang a boost. Without the theft incident, you wouldn't have had such high enthusiasm. But when such a situation arises, it becomes a test of your crisis management ability. It's a matter of whether the government shows a sincere attitude. It could have been an excellent opportunity to showcase a historically declining ancient city like Nanyang. It's a shame that, as in the case when armed militias guarded the entrances to villages, they are afraid of losing face for Nanyang, and they're afraid of disrupting the central government's deployment regarding moving music festivals away from first-tier cities. Political factors have turned a common public security incident into an uncontrollable hotspot. That's why Hu Xizin says this year's event was successful, and they'll continue in Nanyang next year. It sets the tone. You can't say anything bad about it. The disorder, including social order and official order, and the lack of morality, including social and political morality, are a phenomenon of Chinese society. It's a reflection of the thought brought about by the theft and robbery events at the Nanyang Music Festival. But what we can confirm is that music will continue to rock, and the pursuit of freedom by the younger generation comes from the depths of their lives. That's something you can't steal or take away. All right, another week has passed. We hope you'll follow and enjoy it.